Will AJ Styles and Grayson Waller get into a physical altercation? Will Mandy Rose keep the NXT Women's Championship within Toxic Attraction? And will Bron Breakker defeat the Black and Gold's last soldier, Tommaso Ciampa, to become the new NXT champion? These are all questions that will be answered on January the 4th at NXT New Year's Evil. What's up, wrestling fans? My name is Aaron. Happy New Year! This is Wrestling by Wooldridge, and this is my NXT New Year's Evil predictions video. If you're new here, welcome to the channel, and if you're returning, it's bloody marvellous to see you again. Did we all enjoy the Day 1 pay-per-view? I thought it was a great show. If you want to see my unique rating for each match on the card, then you can check them out via the media tab on my Twitter page at WrestlingByW. So, New Year's Evil takes place on Tuesday the 4th of January 2022 at the Capitol Wrestling Center in Orlando, Florida. For those of you in the States, the event starts at 8 PM EST, 7 PM Central and 5 PM Pacific time, and the show will be airing live on the USA Network. Over here in the UK, the event starts at 1 AM and will be airing live on BT Sport 2. At the time of recording, we have 4 confirmed matchups alongside the confrontation between AJ Styles and Grayson Waller. We have a unification match between the Cruiserweight Champion Roderick and the North American Champion Carmelo Hayes. We have a 6-man tag team match between the teams of MSK and Riddle versus a reunited Imperium. We have a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship between Cora Jade, Big Mama Cool Raquel Gonzalez, and Toxic Attraction's Mandy Rose. And we have the NXT Championship match between Baby Papa Pump, Bron Breakker, and Psycho Killer Tommaso Ciampa. If you enjoy this video, subscribe, like, share, hit the notification bell, all of that fun stuff to help the channel grow. We just hit 500 subscribers! Thank you all so much. To everyone who has commented and liked my videos, to everyone who has subscribed to the channel, to everyone who has liked or retweeted my posts on Twitter, I appreciate you all so much. I always want to name names, but I'm honestly terrified of missing someone out, but I think you know who you are. So let's kick things off with the unification match between Roderick and Carmelo Hayes, who will be vying to become the new and inaugural NXT North American Cruiserweight Champion. Yeah, it's not the best name, is it? But I'm not surprised the titles are being unified, especially after Roderick Strong recently defended the Cruiserweight Champion against guys like Joe Gacy and Odyssey Jones, who aren't exactly under 205 pounds. Nevertheless, this should be a great match. We all know what Roddy is capable of inside the ropes, but Carmelo has seriously impressed me ever since he burst onto the scene during NXT's breakout tournament. He's an amazing athlete with a ton of charisma, and I think he'll go far in the WWE. The story has kind of come out of nowhere in the last couple of weeks, but we have seen some foreshadowing by means of how both men have been calling themselves the A champion of NXT. As much as I'm not a fan of contract signings, I thought Strong and Hayes did a great job of selling their match last week. Strong has never been the best talker, but even he had a couple of good lines. I think it's likely that Carmelo picks up the win here, as he's definitely someone who the WWE is heavily invested in. I'm not too sure what that would mean for Strong and Diamond Mine going forward. Perhaps Strong could challenge for the NXT Championship later down the line, but I don't think he'll be winning here. After all, Melo don't miss, Melo won't miss, Carmelo Hayes to win. Okay, so let's talk about the proposed confrontation between AJ Styles and Grayson Waller. Firstly, I don't think that there will be a match between these two. If there was, I would probably predict AJ to win just to keep him looking strong heading into his inevitable match with Omos. However, I don't think that WWE would want Waller to lose either. Love him or hate him, the man has been on fire lately, and I don't think the WWE would want to disrupt his momentum too much. The feud hasn't been been everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's been an incredibly clever move by the WWE, especially after the traction that Waller gained after what he did to a departing Johnny Gargano. AJ is a top name in the company, so I think it's only beneficial for Waller and his budding career to be working opposite someone with AJ's caliber. I do think we will see some physicality between the two. Perhaps Waller tries to blindside AJ. AJ would get the better of Waller, sending him retreating up the ramp, only for LA Knight to return and deliver some payback to the cocky Australian after Waller took him out and stole his car 3 weeks ago on NXT. We still haven't seen the payoff from that particular feud yet, so I think an appearance from Knight is likely. Next up, we have the big 6-man tag match. MSK and Riddle versus the NXT champions Imperium, along with their leader and ring general, Walter. God damn, I am so excited for this match. A match between MSK and Imperium is enough to get me excited anyway, but when you add Riddle and Walter to the mix, well, that's something else. Two hard-hitting dudes who will inevitably add an extra layer of intensity to this match. Again, this match has only recently come to fruition, but I'm glad to see that the angle between MSK and Riddle now has a payoff. It's great to see that Riddle is going to be involved physically. And speaking of which, it's awesome that we're going to be seeing the return of Walter after his defeat to Ilya Dragunov all the way back at NXT TakeOver 36. There's been a lot of speculation surrounding the big Austrian based on whether he will be coming over to America to join the main roster. Well, it's not the main roster, but it could very well be a stepping stone. It'll be very fun to see him reunite with his Imperium comrades, who have been very impressive in their own right. For instance, in their recent title defense against Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner, Imperium's performance was lauded by many. It's probably the toughest match to predict on the card because there isn't really anything on the line. It's going to be an excellent match, but I think that MSK and Riddle will walk away with the victory. I also think a member of MSK pins a member of Imperium to set up an NXT Tag Team Championship match later down the line. Then we have the triple threat match between Cora Jade, Raquel Gonzalez, and Mandy Rose for the NXT Women's Championship. Whilst it's true that I am a bit of a sucker for triple threat matches, I'm not overly confident about how this match will go. Don't get me wrong, I am a fan of all three women. I think Mandy Rose has been a revelation since coming to NXT. It's been great to see her finally coming into her own after all those years on the main roster. However, whilst it's great to see someone as young as Cora Jade get a title opportunity, I still think it's a little too early for her to believably win the title. She has bags of potential, but she's still green and she still needs seasoning. And whilst Raquel's run in NXT has been great, exemplified in her recent street fight with Dakota Kai, I still think there is room for improvement in terms of her pacing and her timing. I just think the match might be a little clunky, but I'm hoping to be proved wrong. The story's been pretty good, with Cora continuously getting the better of Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction, whilst Raquel has been seeking a rematch with Mandy ever since she was screwed out of retaining the title. I'm predicting Mandy to win and Raquel to take the pinfall, which sends her up to the main roster. Cora should put in a strong performance, which will likely see her as Mandy's next challenger in a singles match. And then lastly, we have the match between Bron Breakker and Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship. I think the build to this match has been really solid to the point where it does have somewhat of a big fight feel to it. It's strange because when a new superstar bursts onto the scene and gets thrown right into the title picture, you would think that people would react negatively to it. But that is not the case with Bron Breakker. Fans in general, including me, like Bron Breakker, and I think that's down to his intensity, his badass attitude, and his solid in-ring skills. He's a real throwback to, well, his father and uncle, which makes him very likeable. Ciampa is an excellent opponent for Breakker because his own intense character work accentuates the aforementioned qualities that Bron Breakker has, evident in their promo work together over recent weeks. Their last match together was solid, but both competitors can definitely still step it up a notch. I think the writing has been on the wall for Ciampa's reign ever since the landscape of NXT shifted and we subsequently saw the elevation of newer stars. So, with that being said, I am going to go with Bron Breakker to win and become the new NXT champion. Overall, it's another stacked card from NXT. Any of these matchups could realistically be match of the night by the end of the show. Unfortunately, I do think that the commercials may harm the match quality slightly, but it should still be a great event. I think the 6-man tag will be match of the night, but when I look at the match between Strong and Hayes, it definitely has potential to be a show stealer. So, just to recap, my predictions for the night are Hayes, MSK and Riddle, Mandy Rose and Bron Breakker. Let me know your predictions for NXT New Year's Evil in the comment section down below. Also let me know what you think match of the night is going to be. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, leave a like, give it a share across social media and hit the notification bell to be notified when I release new videos on the channel. I hope you will have great days guys and an even better 2022 and I shall see you all for the next one. Bye bye.